I did not write an introduction to this. Okay, so you've been in Canva for a while, maybe you've even dabbled in Adobe Illustrator. Whatever the case may be, you've been making your graphics, you've been getting along just fine, you're doing good. But you know there's that one thing that you can do to just like tighten things up and get things a little more refined and a little more professional looking. There are always going to be some small little tweaks that you can do to make things look more professional, and I want to share some of those things with you that I use daily on my own projects. Use your grids. Your grid is your underlying framework for your design. Every design has this, whether you created it with a grid or without it. While grids sound like a formality, especially for smaller graphics, they're incredibly helpful no matter what you're designing. They keep everything locked into some really visually pleasing proportions. When you're designing, or even after you finish designing, take a step back and look at your design really quick. Ask yourself, can this be snapped into a more proportional grid? Align everything. It's sloppy to see elements that are close together but not quite on the same plane, or to see elements that aren't spaced equidistant from each other. Make sure that the tops of your elements line up, that things are equally spaced from each other, and that all of your text lines are the same length as well. This also helps a ton with readability, which increases understanding and increases conversions. Adjust your letter spacing. Take a look at the words in your design. Does any of it feel too cramped, or does any of it feel too airy? Either way, these two things greatly affect the readability and the understanding of the information that you're presenting. For more help with this, take a look at my video, The Top 5 Do's and Don'ts of Type. Break up text lines by rhythm. This is not something I would recommend for an entire paragraph. But if you're working with pull quotes or small amounts of type, this is something that greatly increases the enjoyability and the readability of whatever you're presenting. Try saying a sentence out loud. Your line breaks occur as your emphasis ebbs, or as a sentence clause is finished. Export twice as large for Retina and HD displays. Technology is crazy. Everyone nowadays has a Retina display or an HD display. Have an iPhone that's not 5 years old? You have a Retina display. This basically means that pixels are getting smaller and our screens are showing us more information and more detail than ever before. Graphics that used to be readable at 1000 pixels wide are now displaying like they're only 500 pixels wide. And it looks pretty gross. As a general rule, whenever you're designing something, create your document or your artboard either twice as large as you normally would, or export it at twice the resolution that you normally would, and that makes everything display beautifully online, as beautiful as it does as when you're designing it. If you're using Canva, you can hover over some of their templates and their ready-made sizes, then just create a new artboard or a new graphic, doubling those dimensions. So are you going to use these tips? If you do, I'd love to see them. Tag me at Nicole A. Yang so I can marvel at your DIY design skills. Can't wait to see what you make.